Today's review is for Halloween Kills, the newest installment of the new Halloween sequel timeline, which was kicked off by the 2018 soft reboot/sequel Halloween, which I nickname Halloween Returns. Directed by David Gordon Green and starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Andy Mattychuk, Dylan Arnold, Will Patton, Omar Dorsey, Nancy Stevens, Robert Longstreet, Kyle Richards, Charles Cyphers, and Anthony Michael Hall, and takes place back in 2018 where the previous film left off, where Laurie Strode, her daughter Karen, and her granddaughter Allison have escaped from Michael Myers' brutal attack by setting her house on fire and escaping to a hospital. But of course, evil never sleeps, because once again, Michael Myers has survived, and is still spilling countless blood wherever he goes. And when word gets out about this, the whole town of Haddonfield decides that they've had enough of Michael's reign of terror and sent out a manhunt for the Shape, with the now adult Tommy Doyle leading the charge in order to end this evil for good. Now, first, before I talk about the movie, I just want to let everyone know that this is actually the first movie I've seen in theaters in over a year. Yeah, whenever I saw a movie this year or the rest of last year, it was on streaming. I haven't seen Shang-Chi, I haven't seen Candyman, and I haven't seen A Quiet Place 2 yet. Although I think it might be on Amazon Prime. Maybe if I check again, it'll be there. And if so, then maybe that'll be my special for Halloween Day. We'll see. But yeah, yesterday, albeit a bit late in terms of this film, I went back to the theater. So yeah, I'm back to doing theater reviews again. And I may very well consider going back for the other movies coming out, like Dune, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and very likely Spider-Man No Way Home. So yeah, it's good to have those times back. But anyways, let's get back to talking about Halloween Kills. Now, if you've ever seen my review of the previous film back in 2018, you know, where I had a really fucking terrible mic, you'll know that I'm not really one of those old souls that still sees the original Halloween as a great all-time classic masterpiece. Yes, it's a good film. It's a damn good slasher with some pretty memorable characters, especially Michael Myers, who is a really great slasher villain. But I don't really consider it to be the best slasher film ever made. That title, in my opinion, goes to Freddy Krueger. But again, I do like it, and I get why other people love it so much. And yeah, I did enjoy the sequel they made back in 2018, which of course erased the other two timelines that began with Halloween 4 and Halloween H2O. The Rob Zombie duology doesn't count because that's its own strict separate universe and has no connection to the original at all. But anyways, when I heard that they were making 2 more Halloween sequels within the new reboot timeline of the 2018 film, I wasn't exactly thrilled about that, mostly because I felt like it would have been fine if they just left it there at the end of Returns, where Michael was just left trapped burning in the house, even though they tied that in the original 2 timelines and it didn't work. But at the same time, I was like, okay, sure, whatever. As long as it's nothing involving incest, then I guess it'll be fine. So yeah, I was willing to give the next chapter, Halloween Kills, a chance and maybe see if it could be the first one to redeem the idea of making a franchise out of the Michael Myers saga. And wow, what a mess. Yeah, honestly, yeah, this film just makes the previous film look like Aliens in comparison, because it is just nowhere near as enjoyable as Returns. I mean, is it awful? No, not really. It's not Curse of Michael Myers. It is okay at some points, but as Halloween Kills goes on, it becomes pretty boring around the end and has moments that are just incredibly frustrating, especially if you're a longtime Halloween fan. First, of course, let me talk about what I did like about this movie, and that starts with, of course, a lot of the killing scenes with Michael Myers. Like a lot of the other Halloween films, there's a lot of pretty awesome carnage that Michael causes as he takes a stroll through Haddonfield. Any scene where he straight up chops someone's spine out or shoves a fork in someone's face is pretty awesome, in a sick and brutal kind of way. My favorite kill from him in this movie was one that was pretty shocking, but shocking in a hilarious kind of way, because it was probably his most indirect kill of the series. It's where someone is trying to kill him, but as he blocks it, they accidentally end up killing themselves. And yeah, it was stupid, but it was also funny, and I actually did appreciate it being in the movie in the end. Another thing I like was that there are some funny jokes, like the kill I mentioned a few seconds ago, but also there was this other pretty funny joke that involved this one gay couple in the movie, where as they find out someone, obviously Michael Myers, is in their house, the first husband, named Little John, grabs a big knife, and the other guy named Big John grabs a little knife. And they're just like, I got this knife, I got this knife. And yeah, that did get a chuckle out of me. And there's also this other pretty funny joke where there's this one couple that joins Tommy and Lonnie on their mission to kill Michael, and for Halloween they're dressed as a doctor and a nurse. But apparently in reality, the wife is actually a doctor and the husband is actually a nurse. And yeah, that was also pretty funny. Yeah, for the most part, the humor in this movie is pretty good, and it did have me laughing a good amount of times. And also, I do love the musical score composed once again by John and Cody Carpenter and Daniel Davies. Much like their score in Returns, the score is a perfect mixture of that classic Halloween solo Carpenter score and modern day horror techno bass. And it's just so good. And they all most definitely deserve an award for it. And finally, the thing I liked the most about this film was this big flashback sequence we get around the beginning that takes place back in 1978, where the events of the very first movie first took place. You know, since obviously that was when the first film was released. And they did a really damn good job at making the aesthetic of this whole scene look and feel like it was a scene from the original. Even every bit of audio in this sequence sounds like it was kind of edited to make it sound like it was taken from an archive. It was most certainly the most well-made sequence of the entire movie. But now let's talk about what I didn't like about this movie. And there's quite a bit. For one thing, by the way, this first thing is a little thing, and I guess it can be seen as a bit of a nitpick, but it was just something that I just thought was so stupid. So yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna bring it up. It involves the scene around the beginning where Michael is escaping the fire at Laurie's house, and he starts attacking all of these firefighters that show up there. And yeah, the scene itself is pretty good. It's a pretty good fight scene, but there was this one thing about the scene that I just thought was really fucking stupid. As Michael approaches the group, the first firefighter tries to fight Michael with a fire hose. Yes, they shoot water at Michael. Like, really? Like, what are you trying to do? Drown him on land? Yeah, I know that's a small thing, but really, whoever that person is, they were a total idiot for thinking that they could fight Michael Myers with water. That's like trying to fight Infinity Ultron with a slingshot. That's just so stupid. Another thing I thought was pretty stupid was there was this big unnecessary sequence where everyone at a hospital starts chasing after this guy whom I'm assuming is a mental patient because they assume he's Michael Myers without his mask. For some reason. I don't know. That's also fucking stupid. And that whole scene felt just so unneeded. I mean, I can only assume that it was to show that the town is starting to go so insane with their obsession to kill Michael for what he's done to them, to a point where they start causing trouble themselves. But for me, it just makes me go, what the hell, everyone? Like, stop! What makes you think that's Michael? It also doesn't help that it's just some unnecessary message sequence that feels unnecessary to the rest of the story. And I didn't think it served the story very well at all. It was just so dumb. And all it does is just make me feel bad for that poor mental patient. Like, seriously, he didn't deserve any of that. And while we're still on the topic of stupid citizens, I also want to bring up this really stupid scene where, I guess spoilers, even though I won't give every single bit of specific context to it, or say when exactly it happens, but there's a scene where a lot of the town residents corner Michael and beat him up. And when it looks like he's down on the ground not moving, they stop. Yeah, they don't beat him up further, they just stop and assume that that was enough. Like, no, come on. Don't just stop mid-ass kicking. Beat him until he's a bloody pulp. Cut his arms and legs off. Chop his head off. Don't just stand there and think it's done. Keep killing him. Shove his body into a shredder. Feed him to a fucking Sarlacc. Anything that leaves no piece of him left. Fucking destroy him. Seriously, this moment in the film was so stupid that it honestly ruined what was at first and could have been a pretty awesome and spectacular oh shit moment. Like, seriously, what the fuck? And finally, we get to my biggest problem with the entire movie. And that is, well, you may have noticed that not once have I talked about Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode in this movie up until now. And do you want to know why that is? Because this movie puts her to the side and has her do pretty much nothing for the entire runtime. Yeah, she mostly just lies down in the hospital bed, and even at one point when she does try to get up and do something about Michael, she gets injured again and gets taken back to the damn bed. For almost the entire movie, she's just laying down in bed and just talks to the characters, and the role of the main characters trying to take on Michael is given entirely to Karen and Allison, which isn't a bad thing, but come on, Laurie's pretty much the lead character of the series. She's even the main focus of one of the posters, so it was logical to have expected her to do something. But we get pretty much nothing from her in this film. It's actually infuriating. Yeah, I know her character is supposed to still be recovering from her fight with Michael at the end of the last film, but she was perfectly willing to risk her life and fight even with her injuries. Why make her go back to the damn bed then? And besides, Karen and Allison don't even put up that much of a fight against Michael. Like they kind of did in Returns, but here they just don't. Karen especially, because, well, if you see the film, you'll know what I mean, because, damn. But yeah, Laurie was so wasted in this movie, and I so absolutely hope that they make her do something for once in the final film, because seeing the main character just do nothing but sleep and talk to all the other main side characters as they do all the hero work that she should be doing is just infuriating to me. And I have no idea why they thought this was a good idea. Although, to be fair, I guess that's nowhere near as bad as just killing her off within the first few minutes of a movie. I can assure you on that. So yeah, Halloween Kills is just a mess. Not a bad movie, but not a very good one either, and definitely is one of the weaker installments of the Halloween franchise. Yes, it has good things, the killing scenes are awesome, the humor is pretty funny, the music is amazing, and also, yeah, the acting is pretty damn good. Jamie Lee Curtis still gives a pretty good performance with what little she's given. Anthony Michael Hall makes a really good Tommy Doyle, far better than Paul Rudd. Judy Greer is also pretty good again. It was cool seeing Charles Cyphers back as Sheriff Brackett. And yeah, the guy playing Michael Myers whenever he's doing all the killing, James Jude Courtney, is amazing. And I mostly say him because I don't know which scenes are his or Nick Castle's. But you get the idea. He makes a really fantastic modern Michael Myers. But a lot of characters acted so stupid and made such dumb decisions. There were certain moments that felt really unnecessary. And again, Laurie is given nothing to do in the entire film. So yeah, fuck it. This film is nowhere near as good as the previous one. And it honestly felt like a filler movie, which the only point was to set up Michael Myers' return for the final film. But hopefully Halloween Ends will be better than this, because this movie so far is the weakest installment of this new timeline, and I don't recommend it very much. Although, at the same time, you'll probably have to see it if you want to understand what will likely happen in the very opening of Ends. So, yeah. I'm gonna give Halloween Kills a 3 out of 10. By the way, for anyone else who's seen the movie, please tell me I'm not the only one who noticed how such little brats a lot of the little kids in this movie were. Seriously, I hope I'm not the only one, because wow, a lot of them were so shitty. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you next time, and peace out.